Let me read this to you. Dolphins have 8 chakras, with the crown chakra as silver. Dolphins have the same colors in their chakra system as humans, except for the crown chakra. Dolphins' chakras are luminous or electric-like and are affected by ELF waves and frequencies. Now, we already know that the white boy uses dolphins to do all type of stuff with sonar and so forth and so forth. It's supposed to be the most intelligent animal on the planet. It's supposed to be a dolphin. So, doing spiritual research, I went and I swam with the dolphins. That's me with a dolphin right there. Now, when you get close up to the dolphins, I went there with a purpose, to tap into their frequency. And you can do that by envisioning a silver infinity sign over your head. You can try it when you leave here. Just walk down the street with a silver infinity sign, and you'll notice that more higher information, your path seems to move smoother. It just seems like a whole much more powerful energy going on. A silver infinity sign. And see the silver infinity sign attached to a cord, almost like an antenna. So I went there for the purpose of swimming with the dolphin, with specific questions. And first of all, I noticed that when you close up on a dolphin, they're not gray at all, they're silver. And their eyes are violet. When you look into their eyes, they're violet. Now, what astonished me when he finally spoke to me, he spoke in clicks and clacks like the African Dogon. They speak like that. I said, wow, that just blew my mind. Took me all the way back to the Nomo. So I had a lot of bullshit. Once I got in their presence, the spirituality was so high, the questions I had felt like bullshit. Like Obama and all this kind of stuff. It did, it really did. And I felt bad that I didn't have no real high spiritual shit to ask it. I just kind of wow, it was so, deep to me. It was very interesting, very deep to hang out with a dolphin. But what happened was, that night, what came to me, a dream. And it said that, you know what? No white man can be called Big Brother. A white man can't be called, you can be called Big White Man, but not Big Brother. So Hawaii, a person takes on the nature of the ancestors of the land they live in. So a lot of volcanic activity over there. And if you ever know anything about Hawaii, they don't like niggas over there anyway. That kind of puzzled me with this nigga. I was like, what? Wait, hold up. He's from there. So maybe he went through a lot of racist stuff. I don't know. But what I did come up with is that he had a lot of different genetics in him. And I understand that if you have, say, 5 or 6 different types of people or races in you, they use that to send messages through satellite transmissions to those different races of people. Now, what's also very interesting is this shit here is really something. It really amazed me when I saw this. Now, in New York, they have on the news this lady come up when they're talking about Obama called Candy Crawley. Candy Crawley. And if you watch CNN at night, she'll come in and she'll orchestrate the whole shit going down. Yeah, Obama this, Hillary that.
Right.
Come to find out, that's Aleister Crowley's granddaughter. And I said, now hold on a second. Hold on, wait up. Did some more research, found out that it's not his granddaughter at all because she had a sex change. It's his grandson and she's a fucking man. I said, hold up, wow. Then I did more research and found out there was this Ann Coulter on Channel 5, who is also a man, and that is her lover. And I said, oh, wow, it gets deeper and deeper. So we're looking at now, she comes up on the news every time they talk about Obama and the preacher got to understand something. He's saying that's why his name is called right, because he's saying the right shit. But you got to understand something. the focal point, he's talking about America this. America is indigenous, bro. You mean white man this, white man that, you not America. So, here come Candy Crawley up every time they're talking about this shit. We're going to our news anchor, Candy Crawley. One time they had her in the middle of both of them with her hair blowing like a fucking witch. It bugged me out, man. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Brother told me to watch my language there. I'm sorry, it's kind of like a natural thing for me. That's my language. You know, sorry about that. I think. So Ann Coulter, she works for Channel 5 and she is a Nazi. Matter of fact, I was on my way out here today and in the bus station I got this newspaper and there she was. That's a man. Ann Coulter. On the bottom it says, she loves being a girl. That's Candy Crawley's lover. That means that when two men have sex, they take what's already there and make it bigger. Remember, they're dealing with the Obama shit. They're dealing with the Obama shit. Okay? I'm not going to go into the next section here, Bobby. I'm going to just do this last one, and then you're on. All right. All right. This is her on the bottom again. They got her there with Hitler, the whole nine. Ann Coulter, Nazi slime disease. And I would have never known that was a man. I never would have, unless they told me. But up at the top, you'll see another man, Britney Spears. Britney Spears is, and that's all you hear Austin Powers say. It's a man, baby. It's a man. And if you know anything about the chromosomes, about the XXY, you know XXY, people can have a penis and a dick and have a baby. And the XYY, they can have babies, but they can have a penis and a vagina. So, Britney Spears, in the front of the Daily News, I have a paper right here, showing a man getting ready to have a baby in New York. So we know it's very, very possible. All right? So if you want more information like that, get the Magical Genesis that I have over there, which is one of my lectures. And I also have over there, matter of fact, one more thing, you want to get that Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer is extremely heavy. He's a black man that's living on a sovereign planet. Galactus comes and enslaves him. He's a black man, he puts on the silver. That's the knight in shining armor. And then they have the Watchers. We know what Watchers are. They look like big babies with big heads. If you ever saw Silver Surfer, they're these big people that look like baby heads. That's what a baby is. A baby is a Watcher. It's a heavy. And in there also they have the original goddess and goddess, the god and goddess in that cartoon Silver Surfer, which is infinity and eternity. So get that. And also have my new book. Don't forget. Get a copy of that. I don't know, I'm not going to have it on hard copy that often. It's going to be mostly on computer disk. And I'm going to, right now, hand it over to TJ so he can bring Brother Bobby Hammett on in the house.
Let's give Brother a round of applause.
Bring the lights back up.
Maybe later. I want to get started.
Yeah, we want to thank Brother Azariah for his presentation. And for all respect to Brother Baruch and Everlasting Light, first of all, this is a new venue for us because normally we come raw. We come hard because the only real cuss word is damn. Remember that. Anyway, I'm going to bring a man who I got the utmost respect for. This brother here. He cussed too, so Bobby, I got to put a disclaimer on you today. This comes from up high.
You know, ironically.
But anyway, the bottom line is, man, I'm glad that Brother Azariah came down and he got some real good information. Please check out his table. Got a lot of good stuff over there. But anyway, Bobby Hammett, my brother, my friend. This brother here has been dropping information now for about 16 years, all over the country. They beg him from over in the UK to bring this information because, again, our people are dying for a lack of knowledge. A lot of times black people confuse education with knowledge, and there's a clear difference. Today this brother's going to bring you some knowledge and some wisdom. Hopefully we're going to have some laughs along with it. And again, I'm just glad to have him in the house. So let's give him a round of applause for Bobby Henry. Now we're going to do a little something different. Normally, normally Bobby come and speak, but we're going to come out the gate after you. You're going to do libations first?
We'll do the question and answer, then
Okay.
we'll do libation.
Okay, first we're going to do question and answer. So if anybody got any question and answers about anything, about what's going on, what's happening, how you feeling, now it's time to talk about it.
All right. Okay. All right, brothers and sisters, I'm glad to be back here in the Baltimore, D.C., Maryland / area. You know, real special place for me. You know, my queen comes from this area, and it's ironic to tell a little story. I did election in Baltimore back in 2003. What's the sister's name? Huh? Sister Carlene. And anyway, I met back up with the queen that I'm with now, the goddess. She was from this area, but she moved up. She was living in Philly at the particular time when I met her. I met her on the Million Woman March back in '97. As a matter of fact, back in '97, I met at the Million Woman March. I had a lecture during the same time. So after the march, they came to the lecture. And so when and that was in '97, and by '93, 2003, she had moved back to this particular area, and she came to the Carlene lecture in 2003. And I first met Brother TJ at the Carlene lecture, and the brother wanted to take me to DC that day and do some things, but he said, I want to set up a lecture with you, and I knew it had to be spiritual because this lecture came about, I think, in January of 2004, and we did the lecture and walked outside of the building, and it snowed, and it was almost like some forces put things together amongst insurmountable odds. And so it was snowing the next day, and Linda called me at his house, and we started talking, and from there led to us continuing the conversation until she moved down on March 15th of that year. So this brother's responsible for putting that scenario together that I could have my queen that I have now, which is very interesting. And I'll tell you some more things on ancestral things, whereas we are destined to meet certain people and hook up with certain people based on certain points in time. And I'll go into that because it has a whole lot of metaphysical meaning to it. I got a few things. Very important things. We have certain spiritual documents come about. I have this one, which is a spiritual document. It's called A Ritual of the Third Eye. So what we're into now, we're not necessarily into reporting about these mysteries as if we are into the practicing stage or the application stage of these mysteries. So our ancient people left certain things behind that we would retrieve at a later date. And they used the Europeans, especially a lot of this stuff was brought up into Europe by the Moors, to be preserved so that we could get it at a later date. And I talk about this all the time in my lectures. The reason why it was imperative that the Moors go up into Europe for 700 years, not only to educate them, but to bring certain materials from the East and bring them into the West so that we could have this after we wake up out of our slumber. And it was going to be a long time because our slumber, we are just waking up the last 20-something years. Every now and then we will have a resurgence where our eyes will wake up, and we have them in the 30s, we had them in the 60s, we had them in the early 70s, and then as you know, COINTELPRO moved in the 70s and shut certain things down. Then we had a resurgence in the late 80s and the early 90s. And then things moved to shut things down. We're going to tell you, they got a little more advanced about this, and as a matter of fact, I've been talking about this in the lecture, but Brother TJ had sent down a certain document to further the research that it was much more severe on what they did in the early 90s to shut down certain people or make certain people go to sleep. And what I mean by that here is they monitor when we're waking up. You notice in the early 90s, everybody was walking around with a little leather Africa on, even unconscious people. So first it starts with a style, and then you also had your conscious rap at that particular time. So basically they upped the ante on the fluoride, which is what we're going to deal with. The fluoride, which is the #1 devastating thing to the pineal gland, as well as low radio frequency waves, as well as, if you notice your TV set, the only way to really stop it, you got to put a heavy blanket over it. So let's say if you cut your TV set off at night, that's not enough, because that means if it's still plugged into the wall, it's on standby. So you get a breaker and you cut off the breaker, you know, where you put all those plugs in and you mash the breaker. It don't matter if you cut the TV, you can unplug it from the wall, cut it off at a breaker. It still doesn't matter because it has a battery on the inside that's still on. Just like your cell phone. Your cell phone is unplugged from the wall as you travel around, but it's the battery on the inside that keeps the cell phone going. So these TVs have a battery on the inside to keep going even when you unplug them from the wall. So that's why you need to get you some type of black velvet and drape, black or dark blue velvet, and drape over the actual TV. Not only does it emits all types of low radio frequency waves, but it also has a camera on the inside, so everybody is monitored. You see what I'm saying? But we can talk all day on those particular things, but we're also into the application. And here's a document that I'm going to be giving today. It's a 2-page document. I'm selling for $5. I go and I do the research, go in and dig detail and get to certain things. So there's certain things that came out of Moorish Spain, since we're talking about the Moors also, that they will hold on to for years, the Europeans. And this is coming from the Wiccan cult, which you must familiarize yourself with. And I'll tell you why. The whole witchcraft thing, because that's nothing but the priestess of Isis, or Aset. You see what I'm saying? And so white folks are at least maybe 100 years ahead of us in our own sciences. All because you all spooked out and everything that is yours somehow became evil. You know what I'm saying? Somehow became evil. This is a third eye ritual. It's a ritual on how to evoke psychic power and clairvoyance and the whole 9 yards. But this is one that works. So what it is I'll go in and I'll do the research and retrieve certain things. Well, I had to find this in the Wiccan, Wiccan information, which the Wiccan information had 2 aspects of receiving their particular information. The first the first rise of the Wiccans was the ancient Egyptians who traveled up in that land and built Stonehenge, or the Kamites, and set up the Celtic Druids. Now this was curious to me because I found a book called The Book of Isis and Osiris by the Celtic Druids back in the 1990s. And I'm, you see, what is this? And then it was interesting. So that's the first aspect as far as this Wiccan thing. The second aspect is that they benefited from the secret societies who actually preserved all of those particular magical texts from the Moors that was there for 700 years. You see what I'm saying? So they are into preserving all of the ancient primordial texts. So this is one that filtered down, probably came out of Kemet, went into Europe by the Moors, and this is a third eye ritual. That's 2 pages, because the second page is how to raise the Kundalini, 10 ways how to raise the Kundalini energy. We'll be dealing with all that today, but I wanted to put that out there also. Let me see if I got this picture. We had a great master to pass in March. Some of you know him as Brother C. Freemanell. Anybody heard of Brother C. Freemanell?
Right.
Great master to pass. See if I got his picture. To pass, this is one that Brother Azazel, this is a picture of it, and it's just it's the best we had at the time. But Brother C. Freemanell made the transition. So we paying homage to him, And so what we do is we invoke. But this is ironic. I'm kind of glad to do this. I was glad to make this opportunity because I saw the brothers, the Crips and the Bloods and the gangs out in LA on the videos when they would pour one for the brothers ain't here. They would take a 40 ounce and pour for the brothers ain't here. So, you know, I never had an opportunity. I was a little jealous. I said, man, I wish I could do that. But I never really had the opportunity in a particular setting and stuff, you see what I'm saying, until now, because this brother used to drink Old English. You know? Used to drink Old English. And don't laugh, because this is ironic. This is Old English, that's the tiger. Same tiger that jumped through the fence on Christmas Day, remember in the San Francisco Zoo? Yeah. Well, that's called the jumping. This tiger wasn't let out. This tiger actually walked through a wall and ended up on the other side. Real significant because these dimensions are bumping into each other, you see. So if you have all the elemental forces, which you got with nature and different things happening, the animals correspond with those elemental forces, so that thing happened. When we had a memorial for him down in Atlanta, I said, man, I forgot to get the Old English 40 ounce. And I was telling him, and so the brother, what's the brother name from, they talked about the 800, Brother Tep, that lives upstate New York, would say, well, that was interesting, he would drink that, because it said that the Moors invaded Europe in the late 1700s, but actually took power in the 800s. So the Old English represents the Moor. And when I was turning around to go back to my seat after I did my testimonial, he said, hey man, that was not one of the reasons I drank it. He said, I drank it because I wore burgundy fez and the sign was burgundy, it's just like the fez. So what does this mean? This means that these people do research, and not only do they do research, they understand certain things that we wearing this fez. This is this whole Moorish thing that's going down. And don't think that they're not up on it. Because I got documents from the prison. I had a homeboy that got a job in the prison as a prison guard, and he brought back papers they had to learn, and they had every symbol and mythology and everything for every person that was in the prison, from the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science, the Hebrew Israelites, you see, even Christian sects. You see, so they had it all, they have to know everything. So don't think that when this thing is designed, it wasn't designed to put that fez on there. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm wearing a t-shirt, so we want to, this is so when I went to the store yesterday, I went to go get some Old English, they didn't have none. So I got a Red Bull. This is called a Red Bull, Schlitz Red Bull. So I would pour a libation. Usually we pour it on the floor. We'll mop it up later. You pour it on the floor. I don't want to pour it on the rug. We can always mop that up. And that's for Brother Siegfried Manel. I'll take a little sip too. Just to make sure we get into the groove of things. But this is the Red Bull. But anyway, that's how we do things. So somebody said, what does a master do in drinking malt liquor? You're going to find out about the masters. The masters never come in the people that you see all flowing in the vestibule of divineness. The master you're going to always take for granted. You're going to always look at the master and treat him with a heavy hand. Just like Yoda. You know, Yoda in Star Wars. You know, he used to live in a shithole and drinks and eat stew. And little, in a little raggedy place. And Luke Skywalker, who was supposed to be his initiate, took him for granted and treated him with a heavy hand at first. So the master is never going to come in the people, especially in this day and age. You see what I'm saying? Especially in this day and age. The master is always going to be someone that you take for granted. And somewhat that is the disguise where we are right now, because believe it or not, the people who run this planet, they never think, they can't even realize, they would never even realize in a million years that we are sitting up here learning this advanced knowledge. You see what I'm saying? They think that, we are out here complaining. And what they think that what we still are in knowledge is the same stuff that we was dealing with back in the day, talking junk about the white man. You see what I'm saying? He would never think that we are on the verge of our own magic, which is our own technology. You see what I'm saying? Now I want to show you, I usually don't wear nothing but dress shirts and dress clothes, and I do that for a reason. About 22, 23 years ago, Spirit came up and said, now you're going to have to wear. People got certain personality. They said, look, I think I was 24 years old. They said, you're going to have to get up out of them sneakers and all that old stuff that they said, because you're going to look like a mass murderer walking around in sneakers and t-shirts and all the other stuff. So, And I said, man, that's kind of interesting. And then years later, when I gained a little weight, I realized, hey, it was right. I look like some Wayne Williams or somebody walking around here. And although he didn't do anything, but I realized what he was talking about. And so Brother Azazel did these Zarabanda t-shirts, which is the Congo rights coming out of Congo, Africa, and later on supplanted in Cuba, South America, and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico being some of the strongest of what's called Palo Manombe. So he did the Zarabanda shirts, and he said, I got one for you. I'm like, that's a t-shirt. He said, no, it's a 6X, brother. He said, it's a 6X. It's going to do you right. And I said, okay now, this is the first time a t-shirt fit me. But it was right. So the other day I was sitting on the bed, and I was like, wait a minute, I need to wear this. And sure enough, he has on his Queen Majade has on hers. So we pushing these powerful shirts of the Apollo, and I think they got some over there that you need to get a hold to. And basically, he taking these particular Vevas and actually making this. This is the type of stuff we need to be into. Something that's very powerful, something that illuminates. This is the god Zarabanda, which is the god of the. Tell the little boy to close the little door right there. Oh, yeah. The Zarabanda is the opening of the gateway. This whole sign symbolizes the dimension of a whole nother universe, and we'll be getting into that particular type of science as we go on. So right now, what we want to do is we're going to give a big shout out to Brother C. Freemanel. Ashe. Then we're going to do libations right after the question and answer, because we're going to do a little different things. What do you go by?
Me? Go by you.
No. What's her name?
You. Lois. You.
Sister Lois.
Lois Dean.
Okay. It's interesting here how the spirit works. We know we've been talking about these chemtrails for the last couple of years, that they doing the sky with all these chemtrails, and these things that they have for a number of reasons. So one, they don't have to do the HARP program now. They got a plane that can go by and shoot a chemtrail, and the next day it rains and thunders or whatever type thing. And they got the chemtrails that even make you sick, mind control, and all types of things. We don't know what this stuff is, but the sister made a poem or actual prayer to get rid of chemtrails. So when you're thinking of this, a lot of times when we think of these things, we can't say, oh, that's just something beautiful she did. No, that is the spirit realm giving the answer, and the answer to tell her, because she's going to have to read this. Tell Sister Lakshmi. And the answer is, sometimes these things are coming from the people from the spirit. So this Sister Lois is the one that did this chemtrail, and she did it in the car, and the spirit was like, no, that's the spirit world interceding to give you stuff to help you. So the Sister Lakshmi, I just think a woman, because it flowed so good, the Sister Lakshmi, or the Sister Linda, because she got the same name as my queen, is going to come up and she's going to read this thing. It's called Blue Sky. And she's going to read, I think it would go a little better, we're doing the dramatic effect. And she's going to come back later on in the lecture, and she's going to give you some mysteries on the Sphinx that she just was at the table, and I wrote that on a flyer. She was at the table, and she just started breaking down these mysteries, and I'm like, we're going to have to give that to the people. So, we're going to make use of all this talent up in here. We are talented people. So, now you want to,
do it now?
You want to do, yes, you want to do this now. You want to do this now. We'll do this. And I think